Welcome to the Fishbowl with Jade, where we put on our scuba gear and take a deeper dive beneath the surface. Today, we're talking about something that sounds light, almost social, almost optional, but underneath, it's layered, emotional, and for some people, deeply personal. Class reunions, are they overrated? Or are they revealing something about us that we don't always want to confront? Because not everyone experiences high school the same way. And if we're being honest, your reunion experience is already decided before you even walk into the room because it's tied to who you were when you were there. For some people, high school was connection, friendships, belonging. For others, it was isolation, invisibility, survival. And for the people who were not popular, let's stop minimizing that experience because it wasn't just you didn't have a lot of friends. It was watching people connect while you stood outside of it. It was being overlooked, dismissed, sometimes talked about, sometimes laughed at, sometimes tolerated, but not embraced. And when you spend years in an environment like that, you don't just walk away from it untouched. You adapt. You learn how to protect yourself, how to move differently, how to exist without expecting inclusion. So now, fast forward, years later, here comes the invitation. And suddenly, the same people who didn't speak, who didn't include you, who may have contributed to your silence, are now smiling, engaging, saying, "Hey, we should catch up. You look amazing. We should hang out." And something in you pauses because now this isn't about an event, it's about access. And the question becomes, do I open a door that was never opened for me? Or do I honor the version of myself who had to learn how to live without it? And that tension, that right there, is what people don't talk about when they casually say, just go. It's not that deep. Because for some people, it is that deep. But let's not stay on one side. Because if we're going to sit in the bowl, we're going to turn it and look at every angle. Let's talk about the people who weren't nice back then, the ones who ignored, excluded, or even contributed to someone else's discomfort. Because it's easy to label that behavior as just they were mean. But the truth is usually more layered. Some of those people were insecure. Some were trying to survive socially in the only way they knew how. Some were mirroring behavior they saw at home. Some were afraid of being on the outside themselves, so they stayed aligned with what felt safe. And yes, some were simply immature and didn't understand the impact of what they were doing. And here's the part people don't always want to admit. A lot of them, if they're honest today, wouldn't even recognize who they were back then. So when they show up now, different, more aware, more grounded, and they say, "How have you been?" It doesn't always come from a fake place. Sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's reflection, sometimes it's someone quietly trying to show up better than they did before. But here's the balance: growth does not erase impact. And just because someone has changed does not mean you owe them access. You can acknowledge their growth without reopening your door. And that's not bitterness, that's boundaries. And both can exist at the same time. Now let's turn the mirror because this is where it gets uncomfortable. There are also people who say they weren't included, but if we're being honest, they weren't always open either. Sometimes out of protection, sometimes out of assumption, sometimes because they decided early on, these are not my people, and they moved accordingly. That doesn't invalidate their experience, but it adds a layer of accountability. Because now the question isn't just, what did they do to me? It becomes, how did I show up too? And that question requires honesty, not blame, not shame, just awareness. And then there's another group, the ones who peaked in high school. And we don't talk about this enough because reunions for them aren't about reconnection. They're about restoration. They're trying to step back into a version of themselves that felt powerful, visible, admired. And if life after high school didn't maintain that identity, The reunion becomes a place to try to reclaim it. And that creates a different kind of energy in the room because now, while some people are walking in grounded, others are walking in trying to relive something that no longer exists. And that tension is felt, even if it's not spoken. And let's add a modern layer because this matters. Social media has changed everything. People are no longer catching up at reunions because they've been watching each other for years, liking pictures, viewing stories, forming opinions without ever having a conversation. So now the reunion isn't about discovery, it's about confirmation. Are you who you present yourself to be online? Or is this a performance? And now you're in a room full of curated identities, trying to figure out what's real and what's just presentation. And that changes the entire dynamic. So now let's bring it back to you because at the center of all of this is not the reunion, it's your relationship with it. When should you not go? You don't go if your reason is to prove something, because now you're performing. You don't go if your peace still feels fragile. You don't go if being around those people still has the power to shrink you. And you don't go if you've built a life that fulfills you. And you don't need validation from a room that never gave it to you before. But also, let's push this further. Are you not going because you've healed or because you haven't? Because those are two very different reasons, and only one of them is rooted in peace. And here's another truth. Sometimes it's not about them not deserving access, it's about alignment. You've outgrown them, and they've outgrown you. No tension, no unresolved issues, just distance. And that's maturity, that's evolution, that's understanding that not every connection is meant to continue, and not every space is meant to be revisited. So, are class reunions overrated or misunderstood? Maybe they're neither. Maybe they're just mirrors, reflecting your growth, your healing, your identity, and your relationship with your past. They show you whether you've outgrown it, made peace with it, or if parts of it are still holding on. And sometimes you don't even need to walk into the room to know the answer. Sometimes your growth is so solid, your peace is so grounded that the invitation doesn't move you at all. And that's not missing out, that's alignment. So if you go, go as who you are now, not who you used to be. Go without needing approval, without needing validation, without needing to prove anything. And if you don't go, don't question it. Don't second guess it, because both choices, when rooted in truth, are powerful. And maybe the real question was never about the reunion. Maybe the real question was, do you still need that room to tell you who you are? Thank you for sitting in the bowl with me. Now come back up to the surface. Stay classy, stay curious, stay ever evolving. The Fishbowl with Jade is on Amazon Music, Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube, and iHeartRadio.